Hey Trick, are you excited for the Pro Tour?
Almost.
Ready for the Pro Tour, Trick?
Not quite.
What's your life total?
13. We need someone to host the next Pro Tour video. Holt, you're up. Yes!
Again? Come on, I have my own microphone. I can put lifts in my shoes.
That's Trick Jarrett. He's our content manager. He's a funny guy. Right. Welcome to Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, where 383 exclusively qualified Magic pros have come to battle for not only personal glory and large amounts of cash, but for the honor of their chosen guilds, the associations whose color combinations define the great city-state of Ravnica. So in Ravnica, there are 10 guilds, each of which is defined by a 2-color combination of magic. One of those guilds is Azorius. Now, Jeremy, you are a member of the Azorius Guild.
So absolutely.
And why is that?
Without order, there's just chaos.
So Azorius is a bunch of senators and lawyers and lawmakers and things.
Absolutely. It's all about just trying to make sure everything is prepared for proper control. If you start to lose track of things, it just goes crazy.
So Henry, why are you a registered member of the Golgari?
I love giant creatures for small amounts of mana that just dominate the board.
Why do you like the Izzet so much?
I think one of my favorite sayings is go big or go home, and I feel like this describes Izzet in a way. You know, they're experimenting with stuff, and it could blow up in their faces, but if it works, it's going to be awesome.
I really like the Rakdos because it's just like super aggressive, and that's what I really like doing anyways. Like from a flavor standpoint, just being like really aggressive with your guys, unleashing, never blocking.
Kyle is a first-time Pro Tour competitor. Kyle, what is your favorite guild in Ravnica?
Celestia.
Selesnya, and why do you like Selesnya?
Celestia is just like, it's fast and it can pump out like big creatures like called the Conclave, 2-mana, 3/3.
Right, it's a centaur, is that right?
Yeah, it turns into a 3/3 centaur. It's just like Celestia is fast and it's hard to keep up with.
Welcome to the induction ceremony for the 2012 class of the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour Hall of Fame. This incoming class has a combined career that spans from the first season of the Pro Tour straight through to the events of last year and, by all accounts, well into the future. Between them, they have won the Pro Tour, taken home Grand Prix trophies, competed on Sunday at a Pro Tour 25 times over. They've earned the Rookie of the Year title, the Player of the Year title. They've been national team members, a Juniors Pro Tour Top 8 competitor, World Team Champion. This year's class have been innovators, trailblazers, ambassadors, and dominators of the game we all love.
What important qualities do you think a great Magic player should have as a role model?
ジョン・フィンケルとか怪物を見てて、あとマザシ・ロイスとか見てて、みんな すごくナイスに、そのフェアにゲームをやってて、しっかり勝って、僕はそういう人たちにプロツアーで当たって、またプロツアーに来て今度は勝ちたいなと思ったり、いつかは同じぐらい強くなりたいなと思って、自分がプロツアーにずっと出れるようになってからは、対戦相手の人が僕にそういうふうに思ってくれたらいいなと思って。
It's not often that you go 12 rounds without losing a match, but that's exactly what Stanislav Sivka has done today and yesterday. Did you expect to go undefeated in 12 rounds before you came here today?
Well, definitely not, but I prepared really well. Like the last month I played Magic like 8 to 10 hours per day, so I really concentrated on this tournament, so I'm glad that it happened. Yeah.
Do you think you can make it through the whole Pro Tour undefeated?
I don't think so. Definitely not.
As a child, I fell in love with Magic and for these, awesome creature combats that happen. When I come back to Magic as an adult, the first thing that I and a lot of my friends notice is, wow, the creatures are so much more powerful now. Why did the creatures need to become more powerful in order for them to become a viable strategy?
We wanted creatures to be a real way to win, even in the face of some of these other kinds of cards. And so in order to combat the cheap removal spells like Lightning Bolt that people like and we want to still be able to print, we have to make creatures that are not susceptible to getting destroyed by them immediately. So we have to make them a little bit bigger and a little bit cheaper to kind of make them as powerful as the spells that we want to print.
When spells are what's good, the game tends to devolve into what really amounts to a counting contest. Either you establish a combination of cards that's extremely powerful and that ends the game right away, or you just kill all of your opponent's creatures and counter all of their spells until you have something and they have nothing. We feel that Magic is a lot more fun when there's more of a story than that, rather than simply, you having a dragon and your opponent not doing anything.
What are the merits of the old way when the game was more control-based?
You would have, I would say, more exciting moments. If, coverage style things where it's the one spell that's going to win the game one way and then there'll be a counterspell here and another counterspell there and then a different type of reaction. You just had these one-turn plays that just set up these great stories where, now you kind of run into these situations where it's, okay, creature, he kind of gets a little bit of advantage and he just steamrolls the other guy game after game.
I think that in particular, for people who are watching Magic, it's a lot easier to watch games of Magic when you can see what's going on. The majority of the action's actually on the board. That these big, cool, powerful things that are deciding games. One of the problems for years in Magic was that the best things to do wasn't what you sort of looked at and thought looked awesome. There were cards like Force of Nature, and you saw Force of Nature, and like, oh wow, this is awesome, and somebody like, oh no, that card's no good. You should play Counterspell. You should play Memory Lapse. These cards that are so unintuitive for a lot of players. Now the big awesome creatures are actually awesome. Like Primeval Titan, wins tons of tournaments, and you look at Primeval Titan, and you're like, wow, that's an awesome card. So that between that and just the fact that someone could really watch a game and get an impression of what's going on just by what's on the board, I think it's a big improvement.
Quarterfinals of Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, distinguished gentleman David Ochoa faced the brink of elimination against Willie Adel, but won 3 consecutive games to take the match, finishing the Brazilian with the help of a death-obsessed elf shaman. Meanwhile, Player of the Year YUUYA Watanabe used the same shaman himself to kill poison connoisseur Kelvin Chu. Shortly beforehand, YUUYA nearly killed himself with the greedy, self-abusive power of retired Pro Tour Hall of Famer Bob Maher. Stanislav Sivka, who had lost only one match all weekend, continued his dominance against Pedro Carvalho. To deliver the crucial blow, he cracked open a fallen star, a rare exotic flower, and a bunch of spherical knickknacks. He then cast a spell that brought back all of them from the scrap heap, fully repaired. He then cracked open a few of these trinkets again, then morphed one of his fallen stars into another rare exotic flower to add to his now ample flower bed, at which point he sacrificed all of his flowers, whose precious energy allowed him to bring back from the scrap heap all of those same flowers, as well as the baubles, trinkets, and knickknacks. He then cracked open those baubles, trinkets, and knickknacks again in order to I'm sorry, I lost focus there for a second. It should be noted that Sivka did all of these actions on the same turn while his opponent sat and watched idly, even asking the judge at one point if he could take a nap.
Can I take a nap or something?
But each of these seemingly trivial actions were in fact crucial steps for Sivka's path to victory. No stranger to complex mental sequencing, Sivka is also an accomplished chess master. I was told that you could play 3 games of chess against your friends, blindfolded and with your back turned to them, and be able to beat all 3 of them, even if you switched pieces with their pieces mid-match? Is that really true?
Well, it happened once, but in chess world it's quite usual. I'm not anything special in chess world. I'm definitely better in Magic than in chess.
Anyway, back to the match at hand. After casting approximately 1 zillion spells, Sivka eventually exploded a spell bomb, which he then repaired and re-exploded over and over again until his opponent could take no more. But not everyone in the top 8 could play so masterfully under pressure. In the last quarterfinal, Eduardo Sajkovic made a pair of misplays that cost him his match against the Hong Kong native Li Shiqian.
And it's really hard when you've done all, like I was 2-3-1 at that point. I had to go 10-0 to even get to this stage. And
oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, so to get even there and just realizing what I've done, especially like, I didn't think too much of the camera, but I knew it was going to get recorded.
Yeah.
And when the judges confirmed, you have to go with the roll with the punches. You have to accept that happens. And then the rest of my game plan was just still try to win the game. It's a shame. I would have preferred, not to lose on that kind of thing. But, I'm still really happy to have made it here. Really, really happy.
After escaping the quarterfinals with the help of Sajkovic's mistakes, Li Shiqian's luck ran out in the semifinals, as his plan to bury Stanislav Sivka in volcanic lava was thwarted by the baubles, flowers, and trinkets. Meanwhile, YUUYA Watanabe fought hard to prevail against mustache maestro David Ochoa thanks to the 1-2 punch of everyone's favorite elf berserker and scary Muppet lookalike. And so the finals pitted the 2012 Player of the Year against the red-hot solitaire player from the Czech Republic. But while Sivka had made his dance of the baubles look easy throughout the tournament, he struggled to find the spells he needed in Game 1. After taking a 10-minute turn, he conceded, causing YUUYA to chuckle in relief for having won a tense game that he barely played.
He's giggling! I've never seen YUUYA Watanabe giggle.
With seemingly all the pressure on Sivka to either win or defeat himself, he won Games 2 and 3 and lost Game 4. Sivka started Game 5 by protecting himself with a ley line of sanctity, which made YUUYA's hope of disrupting Sivka's game plan almost entirely futile. With the coast clear, Sivka eventually took a 12-minute turn in which he saw nearly every spell in his library before finally pummeling YUUYA to death with 17 firings of a hand cannon, making Stanislav Sivka the champion of Pro Tour Return to Ravnica. And in Game 5, it seemed as though the game was in doubt a little bit, but as you started to work your combo, the smile came across your face, you started realizing that you couldn't contain it, but yet you still have to play a bunch of cards. Yeah. What was that like? What was going through your mind in those moments?
Yeah, like it's very interesting because in Magic in general you're not gonna know that you're gonna win, but with Second Sunrise you know that you're gonna win. So emotions come to me, and become much more and more happy during the 5 game. Yeah.
You've won $40,000. How are you going to celebrate?
Like we're gonna spend next week in Vegas, so probably gonna find some way to celebrate.
Congratulations, Stanislav Cifka, champion of Pro Tour Return to Ravnica.
Okay, I attack with everybody. Do you block? I don't know. Do you have it? Well, why don't you block and find out? Hey.
Hey.
How was the Pro Tour?
It was awesome. Some really terrific games of Magic, and an amazing performance by Stanislav Cifka, who won the whole thing.
Oh, that's nice. So, when's the next Pro Tour?
About 4 months. Best 965 out of 1,929?
Sure.
Hold on. Is this... Okay.